Hey, y'all. It's 5 o'clock and we're going to start Watch Me Work. We're back. It's almost the end. It is the end of June, going into July 2025. And we're going to do what we do every time we hang out, which is we're going to work together for 20 minutes. And then we're going to talk with you about your work and your creative process. This is totally come as you are. We're happy to see you, all those good things. So if you would like, after the 20 minutes of work time, to talk with me about your work and your creative process, Zoe, you want to tell them how to make it happen?
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to see you again. Happy end of June. Happy summer. So after 20 minutes of working silently on our own selves, we'll go ahead and start taking some questions from you. In order to ask your question, please click the react button at the bottom of your Zoom screen and then raise your hand. That way we can get a nice queue going, and then I'll go ahead and call in your name and get your question, and that's how it will be.
Fantastic, fantastic. We want to give a huge shout out to Zoe and Thea, HowlRound, or the Public Theater and HowlRound and the Public Theater. If I'm pointing, this is kind of because my screen is arranged this way. They are helping and supporting us. It has been this way for the past 16 years. It's been a long time since we've been doing Watch Me Work, and it's always full of love and joy. And we're here for you wherever you are in the world and wherever you are with your work. So I'm going to start the timer because that's what I do really well. And we're going to talk in 20 minutes. Woo-hoo. All righty. There it is. Okay. Question.
All right, a friendly reminder to please use the raise your hand function to ask your question, and I will call on your name. Lauren, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
I'll get us. I'll get us started. I have been thinking a lot about. I don't know if this is a word, but the stageability of the work that we write, and how I hear these things like, oh, my play, the structure is that it's somewhat shorter scenes in different locations in the same scene. Okay, for reasons that make sense to me, and I think to other people, but I keep hearing that you can't, nobody's going to want to look at that. Nobody's going to want to think about that because it's too, strategically difficult in terms of the way things are done now. But I decided that I can't worry about it. That it's the story that I had, the vision I had. I've had it for years. This is what I'm going to do. I don't want to write a screenplay because, frankly, I can't quite grasp that format yet. And I don't like the idea of creating something, giving it to somebody, and then allowing them to do what they want with it. To me, it's my vision. If you want to create a vision, create your vision. Go ahead. But don't take my vision and then change it so much that I'm like, what? That's not the vision I had. Anyway, so I have seeds, I'm thinking I can't let that stop the process, or not stop the process, but hinder it. I just can't.
So I don't hear a problem. I mean, I think you're doing what you want to do. Have you reached the end? Have you written the draft yet, Lauren?
I'm getting there. I'm
Okay,
getting there.
Great.
I hope to be there by the next few months.
Great. I say
Okay.
keep doing it as you're doing it. I mean, there are there are so many different kinds of things. So there's so many different kinds of flowers, so many different kinds of humans, so many different kinds of cats, whatever. There's just so many different kinds. So there's so many different kinds of plays. There's so many different kinds of screenplays. There are different, stages that a play can go on. There's, we don't all, I mean, there's Cats, for crying out loud, as a musical. Who would have thought that would be something? You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of different, and there's Top Dog Underdog. So there you go. There's The Range. Oh my God. I think it's great that you're writing it the way you want to write it. And I think you get to the end, and then you hang out with some friends or get some collaborators and take it from there. Yay. Yay for you.
That's it.
Yay for you doing what you're doing.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Lauren. David, please ask your question.
Hi, everyone. Hi, SLP. I have a reading coming up at the Villager Theater in Somerset, New Jersey, and they're giving me 5 rehearsals, 3-hour rehearsals. A Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 hours each, and then a reading on Saturday. It's a big cast. It's got 8 characters.
Oh,
I was involved in the casting, and I'm expected to be at all of the rehearsals so that it can be a real script development process workshop. They want it to change, even though it's going to be read for the first time on Saturday. So I'm wondering just how lucky I am. Is this common? I mean, it seems like a lot to get for just sending them a copy of my script and them saying, yeah, we'd like to do it up.
I
So
think it's fantastic. I think it's what's great is that it's how the process often works, and I think it's fantastic. Congratulations, that's wonderful.
thanks. I'm very
They
happy.
want to they want to invest in you and your work, which is wonderful. They're giving you actors. You were involved in the casting. Is that did you say
Yeah, we did them all over
involved
Zoom. Yeah, it was
involved in
really
the
terrific.
casting? They want you in rehearsals. Oh my
Yeah,
God. They're
yeah.
going to they're going to do a public reading of your beautiful play. I think that's fantastic.
Well, I do too. I just
Congratulations.
wondered if it was unusually lucky or whether this is common practice. It seemed like a good bit of effort.
Let's call it both.
Okay, happy
It's
to hear it.
unusually lucky and it's common practice. It's good news and we welcome it. I don't gotta put it in a box any bigger than that, any smaller than that rather. You know what I mean? It's great news and it's happening to you. So yay, congratulations. Have fun. So when is it? Is it next week, you said?
It's July 12th, Saturday, July 12th.
The workshop begins on the
Workshop starts on the 7th to 11th, and then reading on the 12th. So I'll be
fantastic.
busy that week, driving back and forth.
Have fun.
Yeah.
I hope you're gonna have a good time. We're gonna hear all about it when you come back. Hopefully.
Well, I will.
Congratulations.
Thanks for
Congratulations.
letting me share.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, David.
Yay.
Ooh, I don't want to butcher your name. Akir?
Akayer.
Akair, please ask your question.
Beautiful name, Akair. I'm gonna say
Thank you, Ms. Parks. So I write feminist pieces. I only wrote one woman play so far, and I'm trying to write more. This is like my forever problem. And the next feminist piece is it's a comedy called Etopolis. The title is by Jack Whitten. And it's about the danger of the femme body, like just like existing in space with like boobs and what that does. And right now it's pretty episodic, and I like that it's episodic, and I wanted it to be cumulative without necessarily being linear. But the episodic, and also I feel like my characters keep bullying each other.
Oh.
And I don't mind that, but I want there to be more space between the bullying, and I'm curious about how, like, tips you have on how to develop like a meaningful A plot that could like create a little bit more distance between like these bursts of
uh-huh.
yeah.
Are you it sounds like a really fun show, by the way.
Thank you.
So are you clear on what your characters want?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. And how so you said a one-woman show, it's a multi-character show. They keep bullying each other. There's more than one character, right?
Yeah.
So character A wants something, character B wants something different from character A. And how many people are in the play? Characters?
Well, it keeps unfolding, but right now it's just woman 1, woman 2, woman 3, and man.
Great. So they all want something different, you would say? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. But I
Okay.
feel that's a great question, because now I think about it, I feel like the women kind of want the same thing, and I don't think that's real.
Okay, great. So you can develop an A plot. You can develop some story by just getting really specific on what they want, what they're going for. If somebody wants a job in a firm, whatever, or somebody wants to get through school, somebody wants to fall in love with, or somebody wants to adopt a cat or whatever. You can just sort of build them out like that, and how so they're not just at each other's, like bullying is they're at each other. They're not, sometimes they want something that's not even about the other person in the room, pursuing that. So allow them to pursue their goals, and allow them to, you want it to be cumulative. So you want it to build, so what happens in scene A is going to build, what happens in scene B is going to build on what just happened in scene A, or scene C. You want it to build,
Mhm.
But really, I think focusing on what they want is a key to that. See how far that gets you there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. And hello, Crystal. Please ask a question.
Hey,
you.
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, so I had the reading of my play for the silent sermon,
Uh-huh.
and I'm still kind of confused as to how it went.
Oh,
Um, I got like notes, and I guess I didn't know what I was expecting or wanting.
uh-huh.
Usually when I do the reading, I write to my max and I bring it because I know I'm going to get critiques on it. And I just kind of felt like um, my play wasn't fully understood
Oh,
as to how how I wanted it to be seen or presented. Um, the cast was great and they did everything they were supposed to do
uh-huh.
and more. I just felt like one of one of the feedbacks was that the main character, who's a white pastor,
Mm-hmm.
um, should be black.
Oh,
And I was like, no. um,
oh. Did they
that
say why? Why?
I think it was more like it would be interesting if I considered making him a black man because it'd be kind of like a Clarence Thomas thing where it's like, well, why is he going against, black people in this, in this tragedy that happens? And, it's a different dilemma. But the whole purpose of my play was to focus on the silence of the church in multicultural
Mm-hmm.
churches when violence is done to
Mm-hmm.
black men, black women,
Mm-hmm.
black cops. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
so I felt like that statement would evade or misdirect where the theme of the play
Mm-hmm.
and avoid the
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities of being being able to be challenged
Mm-hmm.
by
Mm-hmm.
um but there were other comments that I just was like, I don't understand if it's technical for the story or if it's based on where we are in our climate. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, if it really was like helpful to me. So it made it hard it's making it much harder for me. I don't know if it's because I was reliant on that
Mm-hmm.
to go to know what to do next with the next draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, or maybe my plays might not be the right um place for that setting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm just kind of, I feel kind of, I feel actually very stuck with where to go in my next revision. I, 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 I'm struggling to wiggle, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying that sometimes we get notes that you're like, gee, that's kind of not, I mean, it's an interesting note given by a smart person who wants you to succeed, you figure, right? I
Yeah.
mean, okay. So they give you a note that um doesn't really have to do with what you set out to do. When was your reading? When was it? How long?
Uh, about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so you've had plenty of time to sort of digest it, and I mean, it's also because sometimes you think, gee, did they, wow, what's the note behind the note? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you never know. And people, again, who want you to succeed or, sometimes, I mean, it doesn't matter. The race of the person giving you the note might have been, the black person says, oh, we want a black pastor because that's an experience that they've had. And that Clarence Thomas thing they remember. And so it could come for a variety of reasons. Um, um, yeah, part of it. What is your feeling about notes in general? That's a
Um,
wow.
in general, based
Mhm.
on my experience, I'm very open to it
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I recognize that when I write a story, a play, or anything, sometimes I'm just very tunnel vision and I'm very well alone. So I'm in my own head
Mhm.
creating these things, and
Mhm.
hearing objective thoughts helps me to open up that tunnel more.
Mhm. 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 I would say stick to what you feel like you have to do for now, you know? I mean, because it's different. If you were like one of those people who's like, I hate all notes, I hate, and I never take a note, then I'd say, well, yeah, you got to open up a little bit. But if you're open, and if you really can say, I'm open, um, then I would say stick to what you're saying, to stick to what you're feeling about, for example, the race of the pastor, because this is what you want to look at. There might be a way to build up, yeah, like I think there's a note behind that note. I'm hearing like there's like a, there's like a note behind that. There's a community friction that people aren't seeing that maybe they think might make it a better, the drama more intense. Maybe, if I mean, how many, so you have a white pastor. Is it a predominantly white church, or is it a like a Unitarian, or what kind of church?
It's like a non-denominational multicultural church, so it's very diverse. I have three women. I have a main white pastor,
Mm-hmm,
a associate black pastor, and
mm-hmm,
that's the thing. The black pastor is the one in conflict as well, as
oh,
far as trying to talk to the pastor about saying
mm-hmm,
something, and where does he stand as a black man, a black Christian man.
right.
And then I also have three women who represent like the congregation of the church,
Uh-huh,
like a Greek
uh-huh,
chorus kind of thing, a
mm-hmm,
little bit.
uh-huh. Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool. So what about, so is this the first time that the pastor or the assistant pastor have had have been called, have their conscience sort of challenged? Is this the first time?
Yeah, in this way because of the event.
Okay. And what if there was, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm hearing like a note about background. What if was there something in the past of these people that maybe they responded to more courageously?
In the past,
I don't
something in
know.
the past.
I'm just trying to hear the note behind the note, that there's not enough. It's like maybe the audience is sitting there going, well, yeah, he's not interested in black people because, some white people, they're falling down on the job. Like that. It might be too easy. The drama might be too like pat, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh
You see what I mean? So I
mhm.
wonder if this pastor was more of a social justice gospel pastor back in the day, maybe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He might have had a really amazing history that now is changing. He's no longer that guy. I'm assuming he's a guy, pastor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a guy. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe something like that, so that it's really a crisis of conscience instead of just like, yeah, see, they're letting us down. There's no
Mm,
drama in that. There's kind of like, yeah, whatever, and we're not interested in the characters at all. I think the character work needs to go a lot deeper,
yes.
and maybe the note about being a black pastor, who would, at least on the face of the drama, have more of an invested nature in the community, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And a
Mhm.
black pastor, you figure they got
Mhm.
more invested. Okay, so maybe this white pastor, who's a white guy, has a he maybe, I don't know, whatever his past is, was marched at the marches or went to, and he's a real good guy. And
Yeah.
in the past 20 years, he's become more cautious.
Mhm.
You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
I
To
do.
got to
Yeah.
build out his character. I don't think you're building out his character. So you're making him a really compelling guy instead of, pardon my expression, people, instead of just a white person. We
Right.
gotta build out you know what I mean? All our characters, right? I'm not just saying this is like a thing for you, Crystal. You're a great writer. I'm just saying you got to build out your people.
Yeah.
So what kind of involvements did he have 10 years ago, or I don't know how old he is, but right?
Yeah.
He was the go-to guy. He was the guy. He was da-da-da-da-da-da, I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I could work on that for sure.
He's the guy you can count on.
Yeah.
Because that's what the assumption is with a black character in those situations. You see how the math is? Black character in those situations is the guy you can count on. That's why Clarence Thomas was like, oh no, right? You see, if it had been a white guy, you wouldn't have been like, oh no, you'd be like, oh well,
Mhm, mhm,
Look,
mhm.
yes, see that, yes, that's what I'm talking about. But does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because as you were saying that, one of the notes was that when the white pastor has this kind of come to Jesus moment, not
Mm-hmm.
literally, but like he it wasn't earned.
Okay.
Um that it wasn't that it was too easy for him to, I guess, apologize and, you
Right.
know,
Right.
reach this point where he has a character shift,
Right.
change, you know,
Right. Right. So you got to
transition.
you got to really build him out.
Okay.
You got to get to know him. You've seen the pictures, and they're walking across the Pettus Bridge, or it's all denominations, all kinds of races of people, arm in arm. He was one of those guys, or his ministry is modeled after something amazing.
Mm, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. So you earned his moments. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And if that's not working, then you take the second option. You think about changing his race. But the thing is that you're getting kind of an easy, like a not a get out of jail free, but you're getting an easy card by just making him a black guy.
Right.
That's an easy
And
way
I
to
don't
do
want
it.
to do that.
Okay, so then you got to work on his character then.
Okay.
Yeah, and see if
Yeah.
that works. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, but I'm bummed. June.
Yeah, hi David. Do you have another question? Oh, I think you're on mute, David.
There. Hi. I sometimes volunteer as a mentor to young writers here in Philadelphia at a group called Mighty Writers. And today I met a young girl, Chloe, who presented as someone who was interested in theater. So I said, well, should we write a play? And she said, yeah, let's get started. And I said, what if it had to have 3 characters? And she said, that would be 2 boys and 1 girl. Are they related? Yeah. The one of the boys and the girl are brother and sister, and the other one is the boy's best friend. Well, is it indoors or outdoors? Starts out outdoors, but then they discover an abandoned science lab. So then it moves indoors, and they see all the equipment that's been left behind. And we're off and running just like that. And I thought, I need someone to do that for me. I need somebody to just prompt and make me just start answering spontaneously with the first thing that comes into my mind. It was so refreshing to see her dive in so quickly. So she owes me act 1, scene 1 by the next time I see her. And she's got her characters named, and she knows that they can't all want the same thing. She had 3 completely different things that the kids wanted to do to convert this abandoned science lab for 3 different purposes. It was quite amazing how fast she's 11, I think. Yeah, it was great. And it really made me think how much we can get in our own way and lose that spontaneity of the first thing that comes into our mind sometimes. Just get it down on paper and work out the details later, just let yourself flow. And she was really quickly involved and ready to go. Fun to see.
That's so great. What a gift you gave her, David. That's really awesome. You can just write those questions down and give them to yourself next time.
No kidding.
All right, thank you, David. Hope, please ask your question.
Hi, it's not much of a question. I just wanted to say thank you. I've been getting on these calls for about a year now. I found out about it from the Little Island series that you did. And since then, I wrote my first play, and it's coming out next month at the Chain Theater Festival. And it's just been such a fun process. And I haven't asked any questions, but I've learned a lot. I've been watching old videos of this, and you've really helped me write my play. So I want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you for the thank you, Hope. We're so
Yeah.
glad you're here. We're so glad
Thank
you're here.
you.
Congratulations on your new play.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
right on.
excited.
Look at
Yeah.
you. Look at you.
Thank
Look at
you,
you
thank
all.
you.
Look at
Thank
you
you so
all.
much, Hope. Eliza, please ask your question.
Eliza.
Hi, good to
There you
see
are.
you. So I recently got my play Triangles, a staged reading in Boston, which was really exciting. But yeah, it was really cool. It was a great experience and I learned a lot. I was also able to revise the play too from their feedback, which was helpful. But I did feel like after doing it all that the format of the staged reading kind of constricted the play in a weird way. Like, because I had a comparison point because I was able to direct it at my school and kind of do that blocking. Kind of the point of the play is that there are three separate worlds in this high school classroom, and the blocking really plays around with that. So in the stage reading format, it didn't really come through, I felt like. And I guess I just was wondering, like, where do I go from there? How do I, like, I don't know, move forward with, like, the festival feedback, but also, like, maintain that original image, I guess.
Mhm. How are you with the stage directions? I mean, did you have a lot of stage
Yeah.
directions or not many? How was it?
I had to cut down the play a lot because the limit was like 15 minutes, I
Oh,
think. So I cut down the stage directions a lot. I think that
okay.
might have been part of the problem.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
it sounds like it was very specific to, where you said it and the look of it. And
Yeah.
when you have to cut down that information, whether it's in a stage direction or whether it's in lines of dialogue, then you lose the vibe that you're creating, right? So I would
Yeah.
say put them back in and maybe elaborate on them. You really want to create the world so that when you're sending it out to people for the
Mm-hmm.
next incarnation, that they're really getting a sense of what you mean, you know? Um, and it sounds like it's the look, the visuals are really, really important. So get them in there because
Okay.
it's important to you, you know? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and don't think like, oh, I have to have just a one line of stage. No, no, no. Hey,
Yeah.
show us what's in your head. Show us what you see. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Have
format of
fun.
the festival, they like read the stage directions out loud too. So
Great.
that was another reason why I had to cut them down because it like physically it would add to the time. But
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
But I mean, the stage directions are if you really want to create like if you're setting your play in whatever outer space. You know what I mean? You're going to have your stage directions, and stage directions can be read very brilliantly by great actors or even actors who are cast as characters. They can read stage directions. It can be part of the show. It's tricky when it's a time thing. So
yeah.
understand, put them back in and add more if you need them because you really want to get your vision across. Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Look at everybody doing so well.
Ellen, please unmute and ask your question.
The first question is always how to unmute. Hi.
Hi.
So good to see all your beautiful faces again. It's been a little while for me, at least. But I want to say thanks again for this space. I want to honor it because I haven't looked at my play in like a few weeks, and I started it here,
Yay.
and and I sat down and I didn't know what I was gonna write, and I just started writing a new scene that I was like, oh, I need something like this. But what's that?
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. So I appreciate it. I'm so excited for everyone's readings. I'm trying to stage a reading of my other play, a clown play called The Helpfuls. And I'm just in this process of like trying to remember how the hell you do theater because it's been a little while since I've come out of this computer, and been in the
Uh-huh.
real world. So it's exciting but nerve-wracking, but it's sort of inspiring to see that everyone else is making stuff happen and working, and yeah, thanks. I don't really have a question. I did get feedback on this play from my friend who's a retired agent, and I was so excited to hear from her. And she called me up and she said, "Do you want to talk about your play?" I said, "Of course. I want to talk about my play." And she said, "Well, the biggest problem is," and I was like, "They're gonna start with the biggest problem? That's how we open this?" And then she told me basically I have plays, and I was like, "Yeah, you might be right." But now I'm thinking maybe I have like a 5 play structure if I break it up enough and follow these different vibes. So right now I'm just compiling a bunch of stuff.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But thank you for
Thank
helping and being here.
No, thank you. And keep coming back and keep, take your play out of the drawer and give it off and look at it. And yeah,
Yeah, it's getting a little dusty.
yeah, good. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen.
How you doing, Lisa? From Los Angeles. I know. I see you. How you doing? Oh, no pressure. I'm just checking in and saying hi.
Oh, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. It's been a minute. It's been back. Well, as long as I'm here,
Yeah.
I might as well throw in something. And I don't know. And this is something that I've been dealing with. And I think we talked about it maybe a year ago. Um, and I was thinking about this before I signed on. It's like the the balancing of the creating of new work and the submitting of, I mean, for lack of a better word, old work. um, I'm still wrangling with, and I've tried 100 different systems of doing this, like making a calendar, and this deadline is here, and this deadline is that, and I mean, is it? I wonder if I like put the submission part aside for a minute, 2 months, 3 months, and just work on the creation of stuff, or do I say, okay, I'm going to put the new stuff creation on hold and send what I have out in the world? And I've tried, the balancing of the two, and they just don't want to live together. They just, it's like two different parts of my brain or something.
Yeah, because it probably is two different parts of your brain.
Yeah.
And and it sounds like putting one on hold is not the best answer either, or maybe you wouldn't be asking the question. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to do this with your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about, so you have new work. So this, let me just get, you have new work that you're writing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And you have then work that you're kind of rewriting, formatting, zhuzhing to send out. Am I understanding correctly? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So this is questions, what about dividing the day? Dividing the day. Like, like you spend, I mean, you might have tried this before. So I'm just like, 2 hours a day writing new stuff. And then after 12 noon or whatever, from 12 to 3 or something, you're working on your older stuff to zhuzh it. You know?
Yeah, that's a good plan. I mean, I teach and I
Okay.
teach many different kinds of classes, and
Okay.
the day is so truncated, you
Okay.
know, and it's like I don't have those hours anymore,
Okay.
and
Do you,
it's
yeah.
tough.
Do you have like, I mean, I was just arbitrary. Do you have like an hour in one part of the day and an hour in another part of the day?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So if dividing the day might be helpful,
Hmm.
I'm just saying, because I divide my days up like that. Okay. If dividing the day might be helpful, then we can introduce what you already know, the timer, which you know, and grace, compassion, which is the magic special sauce that makes everything better. So you got, say, an hour to write your new stuff in the morning. Let's just say you can move this, okay? An hour in the morning, you're writing your new stuff. You're only writing for an hour because that's the time you have,
Hmm.
right? And whatever you do in that hour towards your new project is great. Pat yourself on the back. Good job. And then somewhere later in the day, after you teach or after dinner, after you do your take care of people, whatever you're doing, you have an hour in the other part of the day where you do your zhuzhing, rewriting, formatting, in an effort to send your work out. And whatever you do in that hour, whatever you get done towards that goal, yay, hooray, great job.
Hmm.
That works for me. I have a time in the day where I do one kind of activity and then a time in the day where I do another kind of activity. And that seems to work because, and I just work as long as I can for as much time as I can. And I praise myself for whatever I get done towards the goal in that time slot.
I know in the past when we've talked about this before, I'm just kind of curious. You advocate for same day activity as opposed to, you send out stuff on a Tuesday and on Wednesday it's creative writing time.
Mhm.
Is there a reason for that, or is that just how you happen to structure your that
Yeah.
day?
Well, just personally, I, just to tell you, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I write. 6 a.m. to noon, I Zoom with people. Noon to the rest of the day, I'm doing meetings.
Hmm.
It's all in one day. It's every day as much as I can. So it's all in the same day. So new writing happens in the early morning, then rewriting stuff happens after that, and then interactive, happens after that. All in the same day. And if I happen to miss a day because I'm traveling or blah, 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 then that's okay. Give yourself grace. Tomorrow's another day. But I really try to do a little bit of something. If I got to get it done, then I do a little bit of something every day.
Hmm.
And, you know, just keep moving it along. Like a good bowel movement, but it's not shit. Like the colon must move like this. The colon is your writing process. Okay.
Hmm.
And the best, you want the movement to move, But so that's how I do it in one day. That's what it looks like.
Hmm.
But if you like to write in the morning, even an hour, just an hour or 30 minutes of new work. Because then you won't have the children, your writing project going, haven't been paying attention to me. You know what I mean? I mean, you'll be like, hey, I gave you 30 minutes. Don't you love me? Of course you do. You know what I mean? And then you have your hour for your rewriting. Don't you love me? Of course you love me. Mommy was there for you. Mommy came to your soccer game. Yes, of course. Mwah. Okay, and then you do your other thing.
Okay.
And the feedback loop is I am putting a wonderful amount of time into each project, and I will get to the finish line. I've got this. I know how to do this. I'm putting time in every day. I'm good. You know, that's the feedback, that's the grace, that's the self-love, that's the compassion that you constantly, especially these days, everybody, especially these days, we want to give love to people who we can reach, right? And first person is you. So please give love to yourselves, pat yourself on the back, even for the smallest of efforts in the right direction. We got to go, good job. You showed up for yourself today. Good job. Good job. Like that. You got to cheer yourself on. Okay. And if this does nothing but that, if Watch Me Work is nothing but cheer yourself on because you're doing the right thing. You really are. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. I know that. I know that. Okay. So we
Okay.
give love to ourselves, pat yourself on the back, and we're checking in with you next week, Lisa, because we want to know how it went. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's 6:03. Look at you and me. We love y'all. Thank you, HowlRound. Thank you, Public Theater. We'll see you next week. Okay.
See you next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye.